Hi, my name is Mark Costa and I'm the Creative Director at Pixuma. Today I'd like to show you how to use Adobe Reader, a completely free application, to annotate PDF proofs of your projects so that your amends are clearly understood. This method is much more effective than written instructions in an email or verbal instructions over the phone, as it saves a lot of time, puts all the amends into context, and ensures that they are clear and unambiguous, reducing the chances of misunderstandings. Okay, let's go straight ahead and have a look at a PDF. So I've set up this PDF as an example. It's one of the Pixuma brochures. So the first thing to notice is that, rather annoyingly, the page display panel is hidden away. You'll see a tiny little arrow here. So if you click anywhere on this grey panel, you can see then that there's a new little icon comes up, and that's a page thumbnails. So you can very quickly just select which page thumbnail you want to look at. Equally, you can use this tool up the top here, so you can go down and up through the pages and select a page specifically in here as well. I'm not going to go through all the tools on here because this is specifically about annotations, but there's a few things on here that are quite useful. So one of the things you might want to do is change the zoom level. You can zoom in and out with these tools here. So if you zoom out and you click then this tool, you can see that it goes back to fit in the page. If you accidentally click this, which is the full screen, you'll find that suddenly all your tools have disappeared. If you just hover down the bottom here and click that little icon there, then that will go back. So similarly, if you haven't got this sidebar here, if you have this view, then you can simply click the little arrow here and it will appear. Or alternatively, if you go up into the view menu and go show hide tools pane, that will also appear. Also, you can see in there in the show hide menu there's a shortcut which is Shift F4 in this case. It may be different on different operating systems. So let's open that up. And you have got a couple of little commenting tools up here. You can add a sticky note and you can highlight, but if you click the comment menu here, it will load up any previous existing comments into this panel here, but it also gives you a lot more tools across the top here, as you can see. So let's select a page that we can work with and put some amendments on. So the first tool here is the sticky note tool. So if we click on that, we can place a little marker and we can move that around once we've placed it, and we can put, if we double click it, we get a little note that goes with it. You might want to put in there, change this title. So what that means is that somebody gets a notification there, they can see it, they hover over it, they get the little message, but equally it does appear in here as well. You've then got the highlighter tool, so we can say here, okay, oh, I need to highlight a little bit more than that, and then perhaps websites as well, and then we could use that in conjunction with the sticky note tool and say highlighted text should be bold, and we just click off of there and you can see here. So as we go through here, if you click on any of these amends, you'll see which ones it's referring to. It highlights them a little running dash around the outside. Next, you've got the underscore tool, which simply does that. Again, another way of highlighting an area you want to talk about. You can do the strike through and say that you want to remove a line or a word or a sentence. You have the strike through and insert, which means that in here you can say, okay, I'm going to remove that, I'm going to replace that with expert. You might want to use the insertion tool here to say exhibitions, comma, displays, and in there, and then you could say add a text comment. You've got a text field here, you can just stick in there zoom image in, please, and then you've got a text box so you can more easily see this. This image needs to be larger. You've got a freeform pencil tool, which means that you can highlight areas. So perhaps you might say, for instance, that this area here, you can use that in conjunction with a little comment tool to say can we blur out logo? And perhaps you might think, well, that's not very visible. So there are other things you can put in here, and you can use an arrow tool, and you can put an arrow in there. You can also erase anything you've drawn. So if you weren't sure about that, you think actually need to do that a little bit differently. You can change the thickness of the line. You can say, there we go, not going to miss that now. You also have the stamp tool. It's not the most useful tool I would have said, but it can be. You can use it for various things. You might want to just say, okay, well, this page is approved. Clearly it isn't because it's got this many amends on it, but you can perhaps put that on there. You've got a number of different stamps that you can use. So it mentions about what date. It's all got the dynamic text for the date and time in it. You've got some little labels and what have you, and what sort of nature of the document is. You can attach a file if you wanted to add in some more text or perhaps a new image. You can attach audio to give some new instructions verbally. You can also have line tools, so you can draw straight lines to highlight areas. You can do rectangles to highlight. You can do ovals of any sort. The text callout is quite useful, so you might say there you want to highlight that, make email lower case, and the box will expand as you do it. And what I would say with any of these amends is that when you put some text in, you put a note in or anything like this, any shapes and things, the best thing is to use the highlighter tool in conjunction with it, because it then eliminates all doubt. You can there say make the email lowercase, and you've clearly highlighted what you meant with an arrow. There's no misunderstanding there. You've got a polygon tool, so you can just draw your own shapes around things if it's an unusual shape you're trying to do. You've got the cloud tool. I'm not entirely sure what that's about, but you can just do something a bit different to get somebody's attention. And then the connected lines, which to my mind is pretty much the same thing as the polygon tool. And you can expand these drawing tools so that they turn up in a little sub-menu here. You can see there that they've all been added to the menu. When you click this one, they'll disappear back again. These here are simply contextual, depending on which of these you've selected. So if you added a text box, for instance, here, you'll find you've got the text menu there of how you align the text, what font it is, some other formatting issues that you can add, format styles you can add, there's a size and a color. The thing to notice is that you can't alter the thickness of the line after you've drawn it, so the best idea is to select the thickness here and then do your line as required. Once all your amends are done, you can simply save this file with all the annotations in place and send it by email back to your designer. Hopefully you can see that although this has got lots of amends on it, it is a lot clearer than if you were trying to explain this in text on an email, or if you'd written on a printed proof, or if you were trying to describe it over the phone. This will help you and it will help your designer and will speed up the proofing process at every stage. So thank you very much. Hope that's been useful. That's Mark Costa from Pixuma.